It is so good to be back and to say the name of this game again. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to the first time in a while of our first look at a brand new update for a game by the name of Ostriv. Oh man, you know, there are some outstanding city builders here on the channel and on Steam and everywhere else, and Ostriv, just like Manor Lords, Foundation, Farthest Frontier, Banished, and others, is really notable. This being made by a single dev, as far as I'm aware, just like how Manor Lords being made by a single dev. That one in Poland, this one in Ukraine, are making some just amazing games. In fact, Ostriv is probably still even a little bit better than Manor Lords, honestly. After playing Manor Lords for about almost, well, the full year now, like it's, you know, all of 2024 since it released earlier in the year. Manor Lords now has some new maps and has the economy reworked a few times and whatnot. And there's still some clunk there, and Greg has a lot of work on that game. But this dev's been doing this for, man, it almost feels like, well, we're getting close to 10 years. I think it was like 2017 or 2018 for this game. And I've got to say, Ostriv, this game, as you've seen it before on the channel, is doing some incredible things that I absolutely positively need to see in Manor Lords for that game to really take a big step forward. And also Farthest Frontier 2, another great game on the channel by Crate Entertainment, who are making, I think they made a game called, was it Grim Dawn? Anyway, they're finishing up Farthest Frontier, which will be out later in 2025, and even a game by the name of Foundation, which will be out at the end of January of 2025 as well. All those games together are truly my favorites, and they all are like very much the same and yet very much different. It's like if you were to take potato, beef, and you know, sour cream, onion, and some other ingredients, you can make many different dishes out of those basic ingredients, and that's exactly what these games are. So let's take a first look, and first of all, take a look at just everything that's new since the last time we played. This game now allowing you to pick whether you want spruce trees or pine trees. We'll pick spruce, I guess, for now, and let's go and pick map number 9. Now, this game is nowhere near completed, but blew me away when I first saw the seasonal transition of some of the trees that would change. Of course, we won't be seeing too many now, I guess, changing with these all being evergreen, but yeah, in this game, there is a seasonal transition. It was one of the first games, even before Farthest Frontier, where the leaves would change colors, leaves would fall off the trees, and then you would just see an incredible transition to spring. In fact, I think maybe perhaps we saw a little bit of snow on the ground, but this looks really good. I mean, honestly, it's really like playing a little bit like Workers and Resources Soviet Republic with how the map kind of functions a little bit. But this game is a free grid, like gridless city builder, right? Like in this game, unlike in Manor Lords you build roads. In this game, you're actually building fences, and the workers will build the roads based on the routes in which they take to an industry. So, for example, here we'll build a sawmill, and then we'll build like some houses here. They'll actually walk back and forth, and if we put a fence between that, they'll walk around it. And Foundation is also a game that takes that format too, which I really, really love. So isn't it amazing how we have a game like this that's more free in terms of its building than Manor Lords, although very, very free as well. Just, you know, roads are built by the people, by their traversal over the map, and it's the same with Foundation, versus games like Manor Lords and Farthest Frontier, where even Farthest Frontier is more restrictive with the grid, and I know a lot of you may not like that, but these maps are gorgeous. And the developer recently put in some new things, and by the way, Ostriv has always had rivers in the game too, and Manor Lords now recently getting that, so that's a good step forward. But this game allows for some things that Manor Lords absolutely needs, like fishing on the rivers, and also the ability to dam up the river a little bit and build like a forge. So we'll be able to see that in a bit. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to just loosely play the game. I'm not really playing for keeps here. Don't, you know, be serious about anything that you see, and we're just going to go ahead and start wherever. Now, one thing to note in this game, as far as I am aware, is that the map needs to connect to the edge so settlers can come over to your city. So I think maybe we'll just start here, and this is just like the little labor camp that starts with, you know, in Manor Lords. So, oh, actually, yeah, inaccessible here it says, so I wanted to start there, but yeah, it has to be accessible from the corner of the map. So I guess we'll start here, and eventually we could build a bridge and start mining over there. I think actually we built on this map the last time too, like whenever that was, a million years ago. Anyway, so yeah, isn't that familiar? We've got ourselves a couple of like little tents and places for people to sit. But this game allows us to make our own carts, baby. That is something that Manor Lords needs. It is continuously bottlenecking and build whatever build it is, I think 0.8 whatnot or whatever from Greg. Still working on it. Dropped it right before Christmas. Can't really, you know, dock the guy any points for that because it is a tremendously difficult thing to make all those resources and balance them, and Ostriv has had a lot longer to do it. I'm going to be real with you. Manor Lords looks a little prettier, but that doesn't take away from this game at all. Manor Lords certainly has that more breathtaking feature of seeing a massive region and a world all around it. This is very tiny in comparison, but a lot more detailed. And the farming in this game blows my frickin' mind, man. There's an insane amount of stuff to be able to grow in this game. And the farming is incredible because you can actually use like oxen, I think, and horses perhaps. Correct me if I'm wrong. But of course you could use horses to pull carts and transport things around, and wagons and whatnot for trade, and also of course for the farms in which then you can have cattle and they can turn those into pastures too. So this game already has pigsties, it already has farms, and keep in mind that this game is taking place, if you noticed up here, 1721, taking place in the 1700s in Ukraine, or like, you know, a quote-unquote Ukraine, because the map, if we can take a look at it, actually is kind of like an island. And in Manor Lords, it is the Middle Ages, so there's really not a lot of these things yet maybe invented or perfected, or there's different ways to do things. Like, for example, there ain't no way you're going to be seeing buildings like this in Manor Lords, unless somebody mods it. So, yeah, so there's some gorgeous buildings that you can put in there, where roads can go through those little awnings and stuff. And you can, I mean, look at some of these are really beautiful looking buildings, and this would make for an incredible, almost 1800s like town hall or a downtown area, like an old town. And that's plausible because if you were to play this game for about 80 years, which I could totally see myself doing, you're going to get up to the 1800s. So pretty cool. Anyway, the objective of the game is essentially like Manor Lords. You must build a forestry building, and they'll go cut down trees and bring them back to then build houses, which is the next goal. And there's even like little burgage plots to this game too, and you can even make your own like custom plots, right? Like you can drag these fences around and make them however you want. Now there's no real roads to do it, so you've got to kind of be mindful how you lay things out. But anyway, let's play a little bit. I need to hype this game up a lot because it really is Bird. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, I really need to hype this game up because it's doing things that I want to see Manor Lords do, and this dev, despite all the things going on in Ukraine, is still kicking ass. I see pavement here too, where we'll be able to make paved roads as well. So you can make roads that are paved with stone, smithing where you can dam up the river, and I think you might even be able to do water wheels, which also reminds me of another big favorite near and dear, Dawn of Man. Yeah, Dawn of Man, I wish they would continue development on that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started then. We need to build ourselves a forestry building, so we are able to basically rotate. I think we can also hold a button to do quick 90 degree. Yeah, if you hold, or if you tap F, there's your 90 degree. Now what's interesting here is in this game, there is no oxen to hold the logs around. They actually do it with two men carrying it on their shoulders, and there are different roles for men and women too in the game. Men will be working at the logging camps and heavier industry, but women can still kick ass at the marketplaces, which absolutely is a necessity, and additionally they can also work at the charcoal pit, which is the #1 way that I make money all the time. So everybody is incredibly important to the survival of the people and their economy. Now this is great. These carts will eventually have wear and tear on them, and they do need to have maintenance and parking areas, and also you can build more. So as the people come on out, they're transporting things like nails and planks and logs and whatever else needs to be brought over to the forestry building. So that's cool as hell. And as they travel, you'll be able to see the road actually kind of being built. It'll start to turn a little more gray. And it's been a while since I've been here. This actually seems like a Civil War camp in the US. I could definitely see some mods as well for perhaps rebuilding the South and other cities after the American Civil War. There's lots of great ideas for that. Let's go ahead and lay some things out. This game also allows us to, you know, gather water from the river. We can also build a well in town, and then also a stone well too. We'll just start with the good old-fashioned basic day one, and we'll plop that down too. And maybe we'll put that somewhere where we plan to build a market. I think we'll build our town. This is a great area for farming, and a great area for the town here. So let's go ahead and plop it over here. And I don't think there's actually a water table in this game that we need to worry about. Anywhere is just fine. Great music too. I really hope that this developer, if you get this game during the Steam sale, I really hope they're getting the funding and love and respect that they really deserve for sticking it out despite some real hardships and other competition. But I hope that games like Manor Lords gives this game a lot of attention as well. I believe we have to build 8 homes to start on this one. There are 8 families, I believe. There's 24 people. Looking for a job 10. 8 women. Oh, you can see all the things that they want too. So they need a market, housing available, and jobs in order for people to kind of like want to move on in. So let's go ahead and start with building one of these. And you can see all the options for the customization here. And I think I'll just keep it simple for our first home. We'll just plop that one down. But that will have a market. Sorry, that will have a garden, which is perfect for the market. And everybody here shares. It's all about the sense of community. So if your plot is growing carrots and someone else has honey and someone else has onions and you have extras, that goes to the market so everybody can share and, you know, sell it at a reasonable price so everyone can eat. It's probably a good idea to have a neighbor who is alive, who's the smithy, and a dead neighbor who then can't repair your boats or your, I don't know, actually. Yeah, I think the smithy makes metal parts that then are repaired at the boatyard. And another great thing, yeah, a great early resource too is going fishing. And there's an insane amount of stuff. There's the smeltery that I told you about before, which uses rocks to then kind of force the water to go through the water wheel. That's outstanding. And would be really cool if you could actually turn this into a bridge. And I think you can build this anywhere. It doesn't have to cross, I think. No, needs a narrower area. So we do have to actually use a narrow part of the river, which maybe this doesn't have it. Maybe there's no spots here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. So if we're going to build a smithy, it has to be over here. Maybe on that side. So we'll have to build a bridge to go over there. And that'll be kind of a more advanced smithy. That's not the only one, but that's just using water power to get a little more advanced. Okay. I do remember we also need a clay pit then, and that does matter. You can see all the green dots where clay is, and I believe we'll also need someone to go down to the shoreline and gather reeds, which reminds me again of ancient cities and Donoman, which both have you going to the shoreline to gather that stuff to be able to survive the winter. We'll put the clay pit over here somewhere a little further away. They'll go dig that out. And man, it's a blast from the past to play this. Like, really exciting to be able to be back here. And a great amount of buildings. Now, to be fair, I have not looked into detail what the latest update has brought, because to me, everything is either nostalgic as hell or completely new, or like if a building is the same as it was, but the design of the building is different, it's going to blow my mind. Like, I don't know if I've seen this Glassworks before, but that's awesome and looks beautiful. That's a gorgeous building, man. Really just gorgeous. And then, of course, we've got not only that building. Oh, look, a pottery building too. And distilleries. Yeah, gorgeous. One of my favorite buildings in this game, and you all know I love to go bankrupt in this one. Time and time again, I go well into the negative. No one trusts me, and then we skyrocket out. By getting that oil, brother, we make ourselves a wonderful oil workshop, and then make sunflower oil out of that. And that sells for good money, as well as charcoal to the neighbors too. But it does look like there's a lot of wonderful 1700s industries here. And, yeah, right over here we have our hop yard, brewery, distillery, thatchery. That's what we'll have to build next. Saddlery, too, so we'll be able to sell those. We have a fooling mill. Not exactly sure what that is. Produces broadcloth from wool. That's what it is. So another industry that's on the water. We have a brickworks and an ashery, too. And then, of course, soapworks, saltworks, and more. Insane. Just insane. We need a thatchery, though, to be able to build those houses. And another thing to consider is that the ladies who will work here can only work during seasons where thatch can be harvested. So the winters here are, in my opinion, a little longer than they are in Manor Lords. I feel like Manor Lords' winters are a little more easy to survive. Now, this game doesn't have any enemies either. I'm sure a lot of you are wanting to see that. We do have a government tab down here. You can see the Morning Star and the scales. And really, at the moment, there's just the Town Hall and the construction office, too, which allows you to hire additional builders for when you get past the basic population start. But I think Farthest Frontier and this game have a little more interesting winters, but Farthest Frontier probably what takes the cake for being very dangerous with wolves and bears and bandits available, as where Manor Lords just has raids and bandits too. But a thing that has always blown me just completely sky high, and a lot of things do about this game, and that's why it deserves praise, is the fact that all of these folks here at the camp who come over to build are kind of all assigned to a different piece of wood. Each and every single one of those rafters and floor beams and joists and other things like that are all put together. Manor Lords comes pretty damn close with that, about 90%. But this game scores like 105. I mean, it's crazy cool to see each individual piece put into place for every building. And then, you know, and some of them are often the same looking, or at least rather similarly designed. But to have somebody come over and actually hammer that all in and lift it into place is crazy cool. It's like watching the Amish do it, and that's quite a feat too. Seriously. Looks like another person's bringing over some more wood, and another one, and maybe even more too. Now, I don't think this game has a day-night cycle, but a thing that I really do like about this game too is the ability to see everything that's building and then queue it up here in the upper right corner. I believe in Manor Lords and in Farthest Frontier, you got to find the building and then prioritize it to lowest to highest, and you have to like scroll across the city and be like, where did I build that? But here, you can see that first that you want them to build the forestry building. Then I think we'll want houses first, and then maybe even we can build a. Actually, I don't think we can. Yeah, the little platform here doesn't give our people water, but it does provide water for livestock and production needs. So that ain't drinking water. So you definitely need to make sure that you keep that straight. Additionally, there's a little at the bottom of that tab, a thing that says Build 1, letting you know that you've already built that. But another thing that just popped into my mind was now the game, well, recently, not, anytime recently, but since we did a last major playthrough, one of the last things we did was, the chapel and the gorgeous wooden church. Those are beautiful. I was in Slovakia and the Czech Republic this year, and at the top of a lot of these mountains, there's restaurants and old temples and shrines and things that just reminded me of this building from Ostriv. This is where I saw this style first. And you go inside those buildings, and they're beautiful looking, modern buildings with electricity and internet access and all that stuff. But they look like this. And, yeah, it's just beautiful. Very beautiful buildings, and I don't think this part of the world gets enough attention. And same with maybe Japan and Korea. We do have a few Chinese, Japanese, Korean city builders, or games that take place in those places, but oftentimes we're seeing ancient Egypt, Rome, and Greece, and then, so that's what I really think blew everyone away about Manor Lords being more free, and not so much about the whole total war aspect, but really more on the city management with military simulation, and not the other way around. So, there we go. Each and every piece being put into place. Now, another thing that Manor Lords does well is I'm really hoping to, look up here in the upper right corner and see the little eye icon that lets me click on that and come down here to be my lord and walk around. And, yeah, the landscape of Manor Lords, the bushes and more lively environments certainly wins. And being able to kind of walk around is really nice, too. And this game could use a little bit of love with the whole flag system. Like, we've got green grass here, and we've got green flags. You can see that in winter, but I wish they were like red or something like that, because it can be really hard in this game to find out how you're laying things out. And it does have a blueprinting system, which I like over Manor Lords. Have to have the materials first, rather than someone coming out and marking down an area. And of course, you can always click on a building to see what is building there, but if you're not sure, it's kind of hard to tell at a glance. So once this building is done, though, and we'll speed things up a little bit, then we can start cutting down logs, and then logs are stored here. And I believe also somebody here cuts firewood. I can't remember, but man, it's just, I'm really happy. I really wanted to share just a wonderful moment with you all, because I'm feeling just so great for the last year and the upcoming year for these types of games. Ostriv still going strong. Much love and respect to the dev. One of the most anticipated game on Steam, at least in terms of a city builder. Manor Lords, before other games, came out, took off, and people are showing it a lot of love and respect. We got Farthest Frontier and Foundation out next year. We're in a really nice spot where there's a lot of great content, and I just love it. All right, we need a clay pit now, as they say here, for our homes, and the homes will be, this building here is just kind of insulated with wood walls, and it's more of an industrial building, but yes, these buildings here, like the oven and walls, for the most part, will be made with clay. And then there actually is some randomization to these buildings. Some of the walls will be made of wood, and they actually look really nice. And I don't think there's a way you can actually pick. Is there a way to? There might be a way to change the building. We can also hold shift to place down multiple buildings. There's a lot of options for these. Let's just call them burgage plots. But yeah, it's really well done. And oftentimes I make myself a gridiron neighborhood, because the buildings themselves start as a square like that. But if we hit F1, this is where this game is really cool too. And this was before Manor Lords. You were able to do this before Manor Lords, so real big credit for coming up with a system that allowed you to start with some basic day one farming, and then be able to do this. I don't know if we can add more points to it, but that's cool that we can make like a huge farm here. And I think we might even be able to move the house. Look at that, isn't that cool? We could plop the house over here, maybe even rotate it if we want. And then over on this left side, you know, we could put like farm fields or something. They can grow a bunch of onions. I don't know. We'll just leave that as is because that just looks beautiful. And I think that's good enough for me. So enter to start construction. Oh, we could also disable snapping. Really cool. Enter is not working. Oh, too long, it says. Oh. What's too long, though? Too far from the road? I'm not sure. Oh, I think the plot size is too big. That's what it is. That is another thing, too, about these farm fields as well, is that they need to be a little smaller in this game. There we go. Okay, so we can't have it too big, but you can kind of have it like that. And any spaces that don't equal up here, like if there's a gap, I'd love to put poplar trees here and maybe some benches, too. And that's another great thing to consider. Now, this game takes religion on a little differently. I think there's also a school. There's a few different things here than Manor Lords, which are really nice to have in. I think that building cleared, but you got the point there. I think that's you know, cool enough to see. But yeah, a great thing about this game is how food is done and stored, and it's actually relieving at how nice it's done in this game. Farthest Frontier, storing things in a root cellar. This game, I think, just storing them at the markets, and I think Manor Lords has a little bit of. I think what may be happening is the developer wants to keep things historically accurate, but also doesn't want to copy anything anybody else is doing. But if it's in history, well, then it's in history. I mean, building a forestry building first to cut down trees to build homes seems like any nation would have done that, any culture where they figured out, hey, if we cut down these things, we can make boards and other things out of them and then make structures. So it all makes sense to me. Looks like we have 9 houses to build, so we'll just keep on with that. It's a good idea to also do these with food, right? To always grow, you know, crops and things here. We also have potato in this game, which is something that you do not see in, I don't think you see that in Farthest Frontier, which is a weird blend of like medieval, but like pre-industrial revolution, but not quite medieval or Renaissance. It's a very weird, fictitious timeline. And I also find it very difficult in this game to get away from the gridiron. I really do. I'm going to have to stream this, and, you know, if you guys are loving this so far, please do subscribe to the channel and smash like, because that algorithm, I want it to blow this game up and remind everybody, hey, this game's on Steam. It's on sale because of the Steam sale. An amazing developer, and something to hold you over in between Manor Lords updates and releases for Farthest Frontier and Foundation. And I continue to spew those names because those are the games that I've really enjoyed over like the last 5 years on the channel, where we went like from one to the other, and everybody was locked in and really thoroughly enjoyed what made those games different. And I want to keep seeing this level of innovation in these games. And this music is wonderful too. All I'm hoping for in this game is just more. So we've got health down here. We've got a barber surgery building. Of course, we got religion there. We've got education, the primary school. We've got wonderful benches, which, again, Manor Lords needs as well, and the ability to build fences, too, so we could actually build a fence around this industrial area if we wanted to even further fence it in. And one thing I love to do is to build a large fence around the logging camp and then put, like, a cart parking and a few other things in there, because it's just a good generic spot for everything to be. And if you're building your forestry building sometimes away from the city, it might be a wise idea to build the industry there too, because there's just a lot more space. You kind of do want to keep your city separate from your industrial, separate from your farming, because they all just kind of need land to grow. And especially now that there's so many industries in this game, my goodness, soapworks, the brewery, you know, these were things that we really didn't have before. I think at most we had like the oil workshop, and then the ability to sell tons of charcoal. And there's our lime kiln too. Do we have our charcoal burner here somewhere? Another great way to make money right at the start. And additionally, building a trade post in this game unlocks the world map. There we go. I was looking for that. We can now trade in Ostriv via the water too. So we're able to build a dock, or like a trading port on the river, and then it can go to the other ones that you see on there with the green, the blue line. So the black lines are where you can send out a scout to go to these other cities to contact them and say, hey, we're open for business, what do you guys got? And then we can find out what they're selling and then negotiate prices later. And it takes a little bit longer because you have to send out a rider and say, hey, what do you guys want? We do the deal, load it up onto a wagon, or the wagon comes to us, and then we ship it out to them. And it's kind of the same with the boats. And that's kind of a newer thing too. And again, Manor Lords needs that. I'm sure there's reasons for that not to be the case, but people want it. Look at this. We got ourselves a stone bridge. Can we actually, oh, we can build it like this. Ah, look at that. Nice. And there actually does seem to be elevation to that. You might want to keep that high so your boats can pass under. And look at that. It's kind of at an angle. You want to create ancient Prague? Go right ahead. You can do it in this game if you'd like to. Kind of simulate it. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Where was that other building I wanted to take a look at now? Love the stone bridges, wooden bridges too. Where was... There it is. Trading dock is what they call it. So a couple of little cranes there. Actually just one. But looking a lot like the trade building. So this is something Farthest Frontier hasn't done. This is something that I don't think we have in Foundation. Only Ostriv has this. Only Ostriv has river trading as well as banish too, which is why I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, the ability to, you know, build this and then have somebody come up to you, and I think you could trade seeds in this game. I can't remember how the farming works in this game. Maybe I'm thinking of banish too, but we do have quite a bit of crops to grow in this game. In fact, if we start with this, I also need to praise the heck out of this game for how, you know, chicken coops and pigsties and stuff work. A lot of your farming can go towards your livestock, and that's how you get your leather. That's how you, or of course you can get it other ways. But one thing this game doesn't have is, from as far as I'm aware, no hunting. You can fish, but there's no hunting of animals, so you can't really supplement your leather and meat. You're going to have to get that from your chickens and your other livestock, which I think have to be in that building. I don't think anybody can have them in their homes. They're only growing small little crops, carrots and things like that. Okay, what's another thing we want to build? Well, the fishing dock's going to be a must-have. If we're building a fishing dock, we're also going to need uneven terrain there. We'll have to build it like there. Perfect. And then we need somebody to build those boats. So we're also going to need a... I was going to show you a farm field too, and I love the look of the windmill. So many... Can you hear how many thoughts are flying through, man? It's just a great game. Like, what can I say, man? Oh, there it was. The boat yard. All right, there we go. Gonna have to look at the name because I've forgotten the look of the building. And then also farming then. And farming is something in this game that I have not done until the very end. It seems like Farthest Frontier and Ostriv, I really wait a lot of time before doing that. But Manor Lords I've gotten into maybe like year 3 at the latest. Just because like year 1 you're setting up your city, year 2 you're preparing for the battle, and then year 3 it's expanding, and of course that requires more food. But in this game you can kind of get away with a limited amount of stuff. There's our charcoal pile too. These things really making a lot of good money right off the start. And it's also needed by the smithy to be able to smelt any sort of... I think you start with some iron in the town, and there's a way to see all your supplies, and iron needs to be smelted into nails. You will eventually run out. There goes the little clay cart too. Go back to farming. I wanted to see how that works. I think we have to build the farm actually to build the farm fields. I wanted to do that to see the crops, and it does escape me whether or not there are orchards in this game. I'm not entirely sure. I only see forestry, dairy, carpentry, tanneries, lime kilns, lime works. Yeah, I don't really see a building for that. We have a hop yard, which of course grows hops for any sort of, what, ale or... Well, maybe there's different types of alcohol, but would be another great thing to trade. Look at this. They're already bringing all this stuff over. Let's speed this up. This is something that just is going to be so hard for any other game to top, is the construction of homes in this game. We saw a building earlier, the forestry building, but this is just, like, ridiculous. That's just crazy how cool that looks. They're also telling us to assign a couple people here, so we're going to assign at least 2 to work there. I'm going to actually go up to 4 if we can, and then let everyone else work on the construction. So these guys, I think, will go to the nearest area to cut things down. We can mark trees. You can also tell them to not cut down anything except for what you approve. So if you only want them to cut like a... well, actually, a really good thing to do in this game is, let's say you build a farm here and you wanted to farm there. You know, you can cut down all these trees first to be able to then build the farm and clear all that wood so it doesn't go to waste. I do believe you can instantaneously clear a forest by plopping a building in there, and then it disappears, like those guys will just clear it. But you don't get the resource benefit for it. Alright, now this is cool. So we've got somebody cutting down logs, and we've got somebody... Here we are. We have logs limit of 18, wood 10,000. Firewood, 10,000. So we've basically got somebody making, like, planks. Somebody making, well, cutting down trees and then making those into firewood or planks. And then the firewood, ladies are grabbing that. They're going to stack that up, grab some clay, and then make a charcoal pit out of that. And that's just badass. Really cool how it works. They've really made it not too complicated to make something that should be and has been pretty simple. But there are many more and many different ways to do charcoal, depending on what you're, how much charcoal you're trying to make. And that'll go towards the smithy. And I'd also believe that there's firewood for the homes, too. And this is how markets work in this game, too. If we find ourselves a market under trade and transport, we could plop down some stalls, I believe. Unless this has changed. There it is, a market stall. So just like in Farthest Frontier, just like in Manor Lords, you can make a little market like that and just plop some goods down nearby. We'll make a market maybe here. I like to make it a nice open area. Firewood and I think maybe, I know firewood and food is sold there, but I'm not sure about like leather and stuff like that. But you could basically tell them what they can sell. So yeah, oh, there you go. Shoes, salt, sallow. There's like milk and honey maybe? Orica, garlic. A lot of these things I didn't know about how important these were to like Ukrainian, Polish, Czech, Slovakian dishes. A lot of, some of these ingredients are specific to Ukraine or certain areas, but some of these other ones are like, like massively important. Others are like, oh yeah, we have it from time to time, but cool that we can do earthenware as well. Of course, there's onions and mutton, and as I think I was going to mention too, we have potatoes here. I'm not sure if I explained about that, but those are some things that we can grow. A lot of those things that you saw on that list we can grow here in these fields. So the massive fields are more for what you would build the mill for. So we have ourselves like wheat and other crops that might also be diverted to the chickens and the pigs and maybe even cattle too. Not cattle, but horses. And you have to build a stable. As I alluded to, you have to then have wagons, and those can go all the way through your town. And with that happening, they're going to be hungry. So you have a lot of traffic. Look at this building. Look at this building. Game of the year. Yeah, this game's never not going to be amazing to me. I remember the developer first emailing me and being like, hey, Goober, I see you play city builders from time to time. I think I was playing Banished at the time or something, or maybe even a game you might remember called, what was the name of it? Life is Feudal Forest Village, that's the one. And it just said, reached out, as well as the Slovakian developer around the same time, too, for Workers and Resources, just saying, hey, I'm working on this game, and it's about, old school, home building and village building and whatnot. I had no idea what I was getting into. Just fell in love with it the moment I played through about an hour of it. Seeing the trees change color, seeing the snowfall and the world and some of the survival mechanics change based on the weather. Like you can't fish anymore, and like boats and stuff will freeze. The season is over, and they have to go back in, and it's kind of a cool little survival element that wasn't really common then, so it was very special. Look at that! I'm mesmerized. I'm sorry. Just seeing every little piece of wood put into position, incredible. Guy has to go out, pick it up, put it into place, and I believe each of these homes do have the ovens sometimes facing a different direction. Sometimes they'll have, as I alluded to and made mention of, with the wood sides, but then also the earthen sides too. And then there goes the ever-important thatch being lifted. Ooh, these are new. I don't remember these. Roof decorations like that. I don't remember that being so elaborate. Maybe they were there. I don't remember that. Cool. So, yep, because this fence is connected, they do the same thing there. A family will then come over, and you can see them now moving out of the tents and into this home here. Oh, I haven't seen this before. Peas and buckwheat. Sunflower oil, honey, some of these things are the same, dried fish, beetroots, cheese, flour, firewood, and drinking water are what they start with, and then they'll start to grow their own stuff too. You can also give people financial help and adjust tax rates. If they don't have enough money for food, you can just give them a little kind of a loan, and everyone looks the other way. Some people struggle, some people have bigger families. There you go. So we have a 25-year-old and a 23-year-old married with 2 children there. And these children will grow up. They will have babies. People will move into your town too, as we saw earlier, when building those homes, it does a kind of a check for that kind of stuff. Where exactly does it state that there? So we need to build more than enough homes. So we've got to build 9, well, actually like 10, you know, in order to get people moving in. And then we also have to have tons of food for sale. So it's not about until the next year that people move in, and a cart will come in, almost like in the Pharaoh series. A little cart will come in from the corner, walk right up to the home. They'll offload stuff. The cart driver will drive away, and they'll be moved in. So the better you do, the faster the growth rate. And the same with children too. You know, you got to have more and more empty homes so people can kind of start dating, get married, and then have children and move into their own home, and then so on and so forth. So, yeah, I don't really like the whole America suburbia thing. That I found it very hard to get away from that in Ostriv, because it does nicely square up those buildings. But after all my experience in Manor Lords, I think it's going to make me a better Ostriv player. However, games like Anno 1800 have made me a better Farthest Frontier player, because it, again, is a game that plays like the Pharaoh series or the Emperor series, or I mean Caesar as well, because those are very much about distance and how many surfaces do you have near X number of blocks. So it's important in a game like that. Oh, you can already see them growing stuff there. And absolutely, I recommend building like different little shaped huts. I hope we can actually put different nodes in here, so it's not 4. It would be nice to like put 2 here and have kind of a more rounded side. I'll have to experiment with that. I'm sure there's a lot of options for that kind of stuff, but I think Ostriv, this game here has like 2 big updates a year, maybe 1, and the dev just kind of shows a bunch of pictures. And I get excited about this game, and I think this dev does a good job of communicating as much as in Manor Lords. People just wanted to see combat though, and Manor Lords doesn't have horses and it doesn't have cavalry. Well, it does have horses, but it doesn't have, you know, like riders in combat, no scouts or anything like that. So both this game and Manor Lords have horses, but this just goes beyond, and I want to see more focus on the economy, so that way it can build into the military. And I know people want to see that from this game too, and I think the developer, you know, given the situation going on, probably doesn't really want anything to do with that at the moment. And it's been moving on to making other games that we featured too. I think one called like Squared Cities and things, kind of plays a little bit like mini motorways in a way. Kind of map-based, top-down like that, making some fun little games on the in-between to raise money for the war efforts there, neighbors affected by that, families, and just wants to follow a dream and make a game. And that's got it. It's already a hard thing to do, and now it's like damn near impossible, but yet still kicking ass. So I'd love to see it. Another impressive thing too is that the smoke that comes out of the chimney of these buildings is white from the firewood, but then when you start to make the smithy, which we can plop down too, the smithy actually makes a black smoke because they're using charcoal and you know, frying up some metal and stuff. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and see if we can find the good old smithy here. It's insane how many buildings are here. I don't know how to sort. It would be nice if there was a sort maybe, but okay. So where's the smithy there? All right, good old smithy. Very much unchanged since day one. Maybe one day these buildings will get a facelift, or multiple buildings, but yeah, that building there will have black smoke coming out of it, and it's really cool to see. I love it. Alright, so they finished their first home. If we don't finish these homes by winter, these folks will move out. And look at what I said. Look at that. Everybody's starting to make those little gray pathways now. And if you don't want people taking a particular route, this is where road building comes in by building fences. So, oh, and there's a lot of nice fences here. We even have brick, too. Look at that. Damn. Wow. Lots of options. This is incredible because I want to see this in Manor Lords right now. Both games would be just so much better by kind of keeping an eye on each other. Ah, that's a cool wall. That's like more of a defensive wall that we see in in Medieval Dynasty. Very cool. Even, Foundation could benefit from that. I don't even know if Foundation's going to have military combat. You can train troops and send them off in that game to do missions for the king and do campaigns, but it's all off-screen. It's not like how it is in Farthest Frontier, where you're mostly defending, or in Manor Lords, where you can go out and fight a battle. But, yeah. So let's go ahead and show this off a little bit. I guess you could all imagine how that would work if you want people to kind of take a main gate. You build that like that. And then we build another one. And then we can also... Actually, you know what? Let's build And this is cool. I want to see Manlords have this. Where's that thing? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got ourselves some arches, big arches, small arches, whatever. And then you can kind of just flush this up a little bit. Still doesn't seem to snap. I wish it would. But you just build a nice little archway there. And I do like how these are insta-build. I do hope in the future that they do have to be constructed by hand, but at least this helps you to lay things out too. If you're trying to make an area, like, let's say this was our industrial area, being able to kind of, you know, cut that off a little bit, material and time free is nice. But when it comes to growing like cottonwood trees, I think those have to be planted and it takes them a moment. Yeah, you'll see that someone will have to come out and plant those. We'll do a couple cottonwood over here too. Cottonwood trees are very pretty. I always plant these and poplars in Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. They're so good for going along roads. I don't know why. And also, especially like if you have a nice winding road going to a farm, it looks really cool. All right, next we're building the thatchery so they can continue to build those homes. And then we're going to build the boatyard first. I wonder if the... Now, I was thinking of another game called, like, what was that one? Viking Survival Settlement. There is one where you build a fishing dock, and it comes with a couple free boats on the shore already. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to run out of thatch, so we need to build the thatchery so they can continue to, you know, build these homes and other structures that might require thatch. Some of them do. Most of the industrial buildings, as we've seen, do have wooden roofs, but a couple of them, like the cow shed, sheep farm, those buildings do require thatch. Maybe it's because they keep warmer. I'm not sure, but damn it. We've only scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. What a treat, man, to just jump back real quick. And this does make me want to start a series. So if you want to see a series, you got to demand it. Get aggressive down below. I want to see a damn series right now. Be aggressive because, man, with next year coming around with so many great little building games finally releasing, I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to do it too. Look at that road. They're building the roads, bro. They're building roads. Roads? We have to leave so soon. I know, it sucks. But hey, I didn't want to like get overstimulated. I was just completely off the walls this whole video. And good, because Ostriv deserves it. Well, let me know if you want to see more down below in the comments section. A full series, some live streams, and more should be coming sometime soon, as well as more content from the developer for this game. So definitely check it out on Steam during any of the sales or get it now. It's outstanding, lots of fun, slow game to play, but you know, it's very satisfying when you fill up that whole map, and there's lots of maps to play with. All right, well, let me know what you think of the game down below, and let me know what you like about this game that you think should be in other games, too. I've certainly, you know, waxed on about all the things I want to see in Ostriv and others, but what could Ostriv use? What could the developer focus on next, and what would you like to see in this game and other games? Like, for example, the continued development of, I don't know, Dawn of Man going towards the modern age and going through the Ostriv age, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.